Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. In this video, let's take a look at how you can remove obstructions while planar tracking. So I'm quickly going to play the plate so you can see what we are dealing with. The goal here is to be able to planar track all the AC outlet units, but what makes this plate so challenging are the foreground railings. As you can see, they are constantly obscuring the AC outlets, and that's what makes this plate a little bit difficult to planar track. But no worries, let's take a look at how we can tackle this. To start things off, I'm going to drop a planar tracker node, and then I will remove any existing folders. Once that's done, I can head up here, select new track layer, and look for a frame where I can see the AC outlets completely. Okay, frame 35 looks like a good frame. Here, I'm going to make a shape around a few AC outlets, like this. And then I can color it off, maybe green, so we have an easier time spotting the shape. And once that is done, I'm going to hit this button that is basically going to start tracking forward. And this is where the problem arises. Basically, Nuke was having an easier time tracking the AC outlets until the railing came in the foreground. Since it's obstructing the AC outlets, Nuke can no longer continue tracking, then it basically throws off the tracker, and at this point it's just unusable. Let's see what happens if I start tracking backwards. Same thing. If that's the problem, how do we fix it? Well, there's a solution to that, and that is if we can track or roto out the pillars or the railings in the foreground, and then we can tell Nuke that we would like you to subtract all these obstructions while you track the box or the shape over here. Here's a demonstration. If this is what I'm trying to track, I can then make additional foreground shapes for the railings, which later Nuke will ignore while tracking the blue box that you see on the screen. So let's get started. I'm gonna go on frame 0. I can go up here and start making a shape around the first railing. I'm gonna give it the same color, green, and let's start tracking frame by frame just to see if it works. And seems like it is working. The only problem is that it slips at the bottom over here. So if that's the case, I can just go a few frames forward and push the shape in the right place myself. And at this point, I am already past the AC outlets, so I do not have to continue tracking it anymore. What I'm going to do now is double click on the life and set it so that it ends on this frame. Basically, start to frame, what that means is start, which is frame 0, to frame, which is the current frame, that is 30th. So you'll notice that once we do that, the shape will disappear on frame 31st. We will only see it from 0 to 30th. So once that's done, I'm going to do the same thing for the second pillar. It really starts obscuring the AC outlets from around frame 50. So let's start tracking it from around 45. I'm going to go up here, click on new track layer, make another spline around the second railing. Let's give it the same color as the first railing, and I can start tracking it forward. Okay, since it's not doing a good job tracking it, I'm gonna push it to the right spot myself. Feel free to leave some room if you have to. You don't have to be too precise on this roto. Okay, since the railings are not obscuring the subject anymore, I think I can stop here and set this from start to frame. Well, actually, we should set it to frame range, because we don't want it to be visible from frame 0 to 45th. I can customize it and tell Nuke to have it visible only from frame 45th to 78. So the shape doesn't exist before 45, and as soon as we hit 45, we see the shape, and then it disappears after 78. Awesome. So we got both the obstructions tracked / rotoed. Now let's move on to the main part where we have to track the AC outlets. Cool. Before we do that, just to keep things a little bit neat, let's rename the layers. I'm gonna call this FG02 and this the FG01. Awesome. Let's go back to frame 35th, and I can go up here, select new track layer. This time let's make a track shape for the AC outlets. I'm gonna give this a different color. Let's go with blue. Now this is where I would like to tell you guys something. In order to tell Nuke to ignore the pillars or the track that we just did for the railings while tracking this blue box, we will have to rearrange our layers, and that will automatically convey this to Nuke. So the basic rule here is to rearrange the layers in a way they are in the real world. And what I mean by that, anything that's closer to the camera should be put up, and anything that's further away from the camera should be put lower down the line. So FG1 can go at the very top, then FG2, and then the BG. So the foreground layers are closer to the camera, so they are at the top. The BG layer, which has to be tracked, is further away from the camera, so it's at the bottom. As soon as we do that and we start hitting tracking forward, Nuke will now ignore the railings. Awesome. Let's now start tracking backwards. Again, this time Nuke was able to detect the railings roto and ignore it, or not take it into consideration while tracking the AC outlets. Now you can see we have a perfectly working planar tracker. Let's play it and see how this looks like. One good practice to judge your track is to set the playback from repeat to bounce, which is essentially just gonna bounce the playback like this, and it's just a little bit easier on the eye to absorb the track. And I think it looks pretty good. So there you go, guys. Now you know how to planar track inside Nuke while dealing with obstructions at the same time. I will be leaving a link to this blade in the description of this video in case you guys would like to download it and experiment yourself. By all means, please feel free to do that. With that said, I hope you find the video informative. If you have any questions, please leave them below and I'll get back to you. Thanks so much.